I tell you what, um, earlier on while I was just on my way to the park, I say to you, I'll bring you a very interesting episode right here. Today is the 5th of February, 2018. This is a special for me, and I'm really, really interested with the next gentleman that you're going to see. And of course, someone else who lives with him. Thank you so much for joining in, Christopher Norris. You're the first one to join us here today, here in London. Thank you so much. I tell you what, I'm absolutely fascinated by this next gentleman that you're going to be seeing. And for now, just follow me throughout the whole evening. We'll have about 20 minutes or something like that, because he loves to watch a special. So by 6:30 you'll have to allow him to leave us, because he loves to do his own thing. But I'm speaking about, and thank you so much, Jos Maxiliano Silva, for joining in wherever you're joining us from. But here today is, I'm so much fascinated about education here in London. And I know I'm keeping you in suspense. Yes, I am keeping you in suspense. But I'm bringing in the question about education. And the reason I'm here today, a few of you earlier on asked me where I was. I'm in Crewe. So you've got the answer. For the purpose of this video, I'm in Crewe. And I'm visiting a family out here who I've watched his video. And I was fascinated about what he was doing 20 years ago. So I decided to pay a visit. And thank you so much to the wonderful person that made it happen. His name is David Rene. And I decided that I will be talking to Christopher. But here today, meet Christopher Gilmore.
Hello.
Aha!
I'm alive and I hope you are. And I'm an author of so many books I've lost count because I failed mathematics, which means I'm very spiritual. Ha ha. And what I'd like to tell you first about is alive, or how to die laughing. Quite does. And while everyone laughs in their own way, so do rats. It's been proven. And also, I've got an anecdote to do with, because I sell my books in the stall, in public, a lady came up and saw, alive, oh, couldn't believe it. She'd been in the hurricane in the Caribbean. The roof had been ripped off, the doors had been battered down, the children were flattened against what walls were left, and the dog was frightened, but stayed with them. When they went back to England, she took the dog to an animal communicator, and the dog she heard singing, alive, oh.
Alive, alive, alive.
So she couldn't believe
Yes.
that there was a book called Alive, oh. She said, I've got to have that.
Okay.
And it was written when my lovely girlfriend Dominic was dying of cancer.
Oh,
we
dear.
needed to do something that was amusing and uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to write. I'd already written quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As you see, there's a hedgehog on the front.
Mm-hmm. Thank you,
all
Peter Bray,
stories-
for joining in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And here today, this is a special. I call it a special. Here today, live here today, we are meeting somebody very interesting. And Peter Bray, I know you're interested in education. Yes, meeting. Tell us again, alive, alive, alive.
No, alive, oh,
Mm-hmm.
or how to die laughing and survive.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, she did die beautifully,
Mm-hmm.
but in memory of her, I've written this. And the first
Okay.
line on it was, heaven is full of laughter.
Oh, wow.
And that's a quote that I got in a dream from my ex-literary agent, the marvellous Elspeth Cochrane,
Okay.
who, when she was alive and I wrote a biography, said, I love laughing.
You love laughing.
And then in the dream she said, heaven is full of laughter.
Heaven is full of laughter.
So that's one book, not my latest.
And how long ago was that written?
It came out, fairly recently, about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yes, quite recent.
Congratulations.
But
Well
since then
done.
I've done where is it? Indigo Education for All Ages, which I don't have a copy of. But that, in a way, is seminal to Upper Enterprises, CIC, Community Interest Company, and it's really about self-discovery through doing a self-evaluating survey called Mining Me, when most people are zombified by education, cloned indeed, grow up round-shouldered, bog-eyed, not a clue where they are, why they are, where they're going, or why. And there's nothing better, more self-empowering, than knowing yourself inside out and living on mission inside out. And that's the basis of what we do with Upper Enterprises. And we run a whole series of play shops which are being fully applauded, and people are coming back. And indeed, we've got a waiting list for hundreds of people to do these 8 play shops.
And what inspired you to write?
I taught all ages in 4 continents. I'm so disillusioned by the way they were disenfranchised, as I've just indicated, that I thought there has to be something that's more heart-centred, more person-centred, and they can contribute to more, rather than have all the choices taken from them and tell what to wear and what to do, how to stand, and when to not swear.
So that's inspired you to write and go and find solutions. Yes, go on, tell us about your other books.
When I was in school, I spent a lot of time writing 10 dovetails. Now, you may notice it's spelled Tales.
Right.
The reason is because the life we live is all based on the stories we tell ourselves.
Right.
So we are all the authors of our own lives, whether they acknowledge that or not.
Okay.
And I thought the one thing that is so debilitating to wisdom in education is the fact that subjects are boxed. That all life is interlinked.
Yes.
Love always links.
Yes.
Mind likes only to think, and therefore categorize things in order to control them.
Right.
But the free flow of spirit and consciousness won't be trapped. It loves freedom. So this one is integrated science, love before learning.
Oh, brilliant. I should read that one. I want to learn that.
And I had a 18-year-old read it when I was an actor in Diggs. And he read it for 3/4 of an hour, looked up at me and said, "Oh, it's like a real science book." I said, "Thank you very much." Whereas somebody else said, when they were 9 years old, when they read some of it, because it's amazing how the people that are not over-educated or over-academic often have far more wisdom and insights than those people.
And I prefer wisdom.
Marshalled into a belief system or being trapped in their left brain.
Okay.
And this youngster said, "Poetry in a science book." Loved it.
Interesting.
The first one I wrote was Mighty Mathematics, Dr. Mighty Mathematics. Why? Because I failed maths. And I thought, oh, I didn't fail it. The teachers failed me.
I didn't like maths, so it's interesting you tell me that.
Many people that are right brain don't.
Right.
Moving on and still staying with education, we have the free schools, question mark, question mark, question mark. And the publisher, I won't say their name, but you can find out online, didn't like 3 question marks.
Okay.
They don't like anything that's unusual and provocative.
Who drew?
And I said, I insist on 3 question marks because education will always be problematical. It always has been, and it's always being reviewed. Patchworks on cancer, and the rot of education remains because people end up too often with nervous breakdowns or stress. Everything that is anti-health and very good for the people who want to make money out of bad health. And that's the spirit.
Thank you.
And that has been used by teachers who really want to make it more heart-centred and uplifting for the children rather than just blind obedience and doggedness, which is so debilitating to individuality.
Thank you.
One thing that I say as an educationist is that the right brain, which is traditionally considered to be more lateral rather than literal, needs nourishment in balance with the so-called logical side.
Okay.
And the more of the arts that are withdrawn from curricula, the more kids are just being trapped into mentalizing and end up mental so often not.
Okay.
Because it's inhuman. And I would always claim to say, as I do in my Indigo book, it's abuse.
Right. Tell us more about it.
The evidence is there.
Mm-hmm.
You've only got to look at the numbers of people who are leaking from school,
Yes.
because they say it's not for them. You've only got to look at the number of home educators that are growing exponentially. The ones that I've taught,
Exclusion,
4-year-olds
social
up to
exclusion, yeah.
84-year-olds, they are often the walking wounded of education, of all ages. And that's why Indigo Education for All Ages, because the consciousness of autonomy, basically, even it's embryonic, is in people of all ages. And when I was teaching 4-year-olds, which you can see on my DVD, which is Early Learners Know Lots,
20 years ago.
which you've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. That's it.
That's the one I watched.
Yes.
Is that the one I saw on YouTube?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and that's what attracted me to look for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And you realise how happy the children were.
The children were very happy. That's you 20 years ago.
Because I always honoured everything they said.
I see.
And listened to it and integrated into whatever the theme was. And the theme I chose was nearly always on universals, like astronomy or something like that, or things that people meet all the time, like fear. What do you do with it? Is it your favourite feeling?
Right.
Always asking provocative questions. And what I loved about the little ones, when they rushed into my class, they'd look around to see what was new this time.
Yes.
It was on Saturday school.
Yes, it was a Saturday school, yeah.
I've got so many anecdotes in, Soul-Centred Education isn't here. One of my books is Soul-Centred in the 3rd edition. And in that book, I have many anecdotes of how children, Mondays to Fridays, bored out of their skull.
Yes.
And would come to Saturday and then get refreshed by learning based on love and to a degree free will. I like firm but flexible frameworks.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Complementary.
Sorry?
Complementary?
Most complementary rather than alternative, because the system won't lose its grip very easily.
Okay.
They're too afraid of not knowing how to improve it in a way that is more permanent, and they've got their mortgages to pay and their families to feed, so bless them. So they often feel trapped, and you know, they're bribing teachers to go into the classroom now, and they're also paying ex-soldiers to go in there, and they're even talking about taking guns into school. What a comment on education in this country, let alone America. And I've written in the Indigo book the numbers of children who've been killed by students who've been disenfranchised.
Yes.
It's a form of madness, and it's sanctified by the state people who want to control people as consumers to their system of profit.
And let's tell us about the Bright Eyes Bubble.
Bright Eyes and Bubbles. It's a talking book. I'm an actor as well. I was an actor for
You're an actor as well. You tell us about that as well. Yes.
Oh, gosh, it was the time. I mean, I've rewritten quite a lot of Shakespeare.
Yes.
So, what do I call it? Shakespeare Revived? No, what do I call it? Can you remember what I call it? What do they call it?
Reduced.
Oh, yeah, oh, yes. Shakespeare reduced, juice as in juicy, because there's an outfit, a theatre outfit that goes around the country called Theatre Reduced, because in 5 minutes they tell the whole story of Hamlet or King Lear or whatever, but I decided to be reducey because I've always liked being playful. And Bright Eyes and Bubbles here, they're fables for all the family, New Age fables, was written years ago, published by myself, and illustrated by an ex-student of mine. When I was teaching in comprehensive, I was head of drama in 4. I nearly always used, where possible, the students that have taught. So, where is it? This is illustrated by an ex-student of mine.
Alive, yeah.
Yeah. This poor lad committed suicide because I think he was gay. I never found out if that was the real reason.
Oh dear.
But also, there's another ex-pupil of mine who illustrated that, called Stevens.
Right.
And Bright Eyes and Bubbles was followed through
telling
tales.
Okay.
And like Bright Eyes,
help him.
it has a CD. And the novel aspect of this is We sell that for £6 only,
Yeah.
and there are 12 stories here.
Okay.
And if I read the background
Okay.
to it, or rather the blurb on the back, which was a review that was done when it first came out, my dears, it was so good. I couldn't believe I'd written a book. Honestly, it made me so anaesthetized with modesty.
Yes.
I all but vanished up my own you-know-what.
Okay.
It's absolutely full of compliments, like dazzling, imaginative, uplifting, and all sorts of marvellous words like that. Many people don't want that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, so many people are looking for sensation rather than truth, their truth.
Right.
I don't want to impose truth on anyone. I want them to discover it for themselves.
Self-discovery.
And then they can take ownership of it. And that, for me, is the real journey of education. And as I say, it's a talking book. All the voices are done by me as well, with incidental music for all of them. What else would you like to know? I think I've been through most things now. Oh no, what's the birdies? This was illustrated by an 86-year-old who also
86 years old, yeah.
telling tales. As you can see, I mean, this lady would just sit down and draw anything you said to her. Immediate reflex, immediately get an image, including this of me holding up.
Is that you?
Yeah, with a camera.
Okay.
Looking at birds. And inside, lovely illustrations. Again, they're all fables. So this goes back to what I was saying a moment ago. Whether or not you want to believe in fairies, whether or not they exist even, I believe in them. I've not seen them. My mother did, and my girlfriend I had did.
Yes.
I don't need to see them because I'm comfortable with rebirth and reincarnation. I know I've seen them and worked with them years gone by.
So you have
I
faith.
don't know. This time round, I don't need to. So this is really what people so often don't realise in this mechanistic, materialistic society is that you can love birds through fantasising them and writing a fable or reading a fable about them, a story about them, by making them more human than actually learning just the science of them, which is what can be controlled by academia. But I'm not interested in controlling people. I'm interested in them discovering themselves in order to control themselves, to enlarge themselves in their love of life by finding out who they are, enjoying who they are, and celebrating life in service to themselves as a unique being, and then to the rest of us as well. A big hug to all.
I'm telling you, that is absolutely amazing. And for those who've joined us, I want to thank you all the way from Kenya, people watching from Coventry, people watching from let me just bring the people watching in. J.W. Bricky, thank you for joining in. Peter Brea,
thank you for the invitation.
Yes, and thank you so much. Joyce Ampomfo, Duncan, many thanks again. Anthony Ayub, Donald Igwebo, lovely to see you. And of course, Jennifer, our solicitor, lovely to see you. I'll definitely see you in a few weeks' time, Jennifer. And the reason I couldn't see you this week is because I'm in crew this week, because I really wanted to meet Christopher. I will tell you more about Christopher when I come back. Absolutely. He's written over 30 books. He was telling me.
And plays.
And musical.
And opera as well.
An opera as well.
I've just finished an opera, yes.
And he's finished an opera.
And limericks every day.
And limericks every day. So I'm absolutely fascinated with this gentleman, because I tell you what, David told me about him and I kept saying, let me meet him. So he said, if you love it about education, that's what David told me. I was sitting one day and I said, I'm interested with this education stuff. And so David said to me, I want you to meet someone one of these fine days. So thanks so much, David, for bringing this real to my experience. And I will talk to you. But he will leave us in at 6:30 because he loves to watch something and then he'll come back. But he wants to say something. Yeah, go ahead.
Just love to life.
Love life? Yes.
And also
Christopher Gilmore out.
Christopher Gilmore
Out.
Out.
Bye.
And you know, I don't pretend. Anyone who knows me, I don't pretend. I love living my life and I love people being themselves. As you can see here, I've driven all the way from London. I'm here in Crewe just to meet this family. Yeah, the center of the universe. He's telling me, I mean, this room that he's made homely to himself. I'll tell you about that later. But he will leave us at 6:30. But I was so interested to find out more about Christopher Gilmore and how he came into writing all these things that he writes. But I'm still learning, so I'll come back to that. And besides him is a lovely, wonderful gentleman that I've met as well. And of course, he's from Iran. Are you happy if I announce you're Iranian as well? Yeah, I've told them already. Yeah, because I want everybody to know. But what is interesting for me in learning and connecting is very, very important. His smile, just his smile, as you can see, absolutely handsome as well. He's shy now. He's shying off when I say that. But anyway, what is really interesting is, before I came live, I've done another video, and this family is absolutely interesting, as you can see. And I'm sitting down here and very interested with what they do in life. But I'm coming back to myself, and thank you. Yes, thank you so much for welcoming me to your home as well. I'm absolutely delighted to be in your home. And I feel honored to be in your home. I feel blessed, not even honored, but I feel blessed to meet you all. And thank you so much, David, again, for allowing me to be here. I'm absolutely, I'm blessed. And I think, as I say to David, this story needs to be shared because it needs to be told. And that's what I love. I love telling stories.
I was going to say also our new website will be @menterprises.org.
Okay.
So it's launching soon. So the lyrics, the work, everything will be there as well.
Right.
Yeah, so Atma Enterprise, so Atma is ATMA, enterprises.org.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm doing is they're going to be launching their program. Actually, some of you...
part of it, we've done more than 8 presentations already.
Yeah.
People coming back to part 2.
Yes. So, you'll have heard us talk about reboots. Keep an eye on Reboot Your Life Purpose. I'm going to be talking about that. Thank you so much for all the people who are liking. And this is a real family. It's quite interesting. Education is very interesting. So we will bring the discussion. I will post some of the videos that the gentleman has done, and I think he's quite an interesting chap. I've spoken to him this afternoon, and I will leave you to discover the gentleman again. His name is Christopher Gilmore, and I want let him quickly hold on, sit up a little bit. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. So hold on, so people will hear you. I want you to tell people about your background. You know, if you don't mind, please share with that before you go.
Well, I was brought up by Jesuits.
Okay.
I had 2 years non-stop illness and died 3 times.
When you say died, what do you mean?
Near-death experiences.
Okay.
I nearly died twice of pneumonia, double pneumonia.
Okay.
And I had all the diseases that people don't hear of anymore.
Okay.
Like whooping cough and so on.
Right.
This was, of course, at the beginning of the war.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in 1933.
Wow.
You're not allowed to believe that.
Okay.
And
you don't look it. So how old are you? Don't look it at all. So how old are you? You don't mind me asking?
I'm in my 86th year.
Wow.
And as a result of the illness, the doctor said, go to the country. So I was brought up in a tiny little village called Kirkland in Cumberland, now called Cumbria.
Okay.
And the connection with nature and birds nesting and playing in water streams and going up the fells and looking at wildflowers. And I was writing poetry since the age of 13. I'll tell you a bit of a naughty story. I was asked recently to talk about Wordsworth. Of course, he's the Cumbrian poet, famous. And I read quite a lot of his poetry to the group, but I said, there's going to be a hidden riddle here, because one of the poems I'm going to read, he didn't write. So by the time at the end of the programme, I said, were they all by Wordsworth? Oh yes, lovely William Wordsworth, they were. I said, no. There was one called To a Violet, which I wrote when I was 13.
Yes. Wow.
I am able to boast.
You may not have been...
But I blush at the same time.
Well, if you believe in reincarnation, you could have been Wordsworth yourself.
Well, there was enough gap, yes, for me to pop out of one body and go to another.
Yeah.
But I feel as though with reincarnation, I've been so close to Shakespeare, so close to Beethoven, so close to people, because an actor is very gullible, very suggestible, and can morph very easily. And as an actor for 15 years on television, films, and mostly stage, I played such a range of parts.
Wow.
And I began to think,
And what was your favourite part?
I didn't have a fate, except for what I was doing.
Okay.
You see, there isn't time to be attached, because if you do... I started at 16 doing a play a day.
Oh, wow.
A play a day. Mad.
Yes.
I got my school cert results
Yes.
and all the failures. And my first job in the theatre on exactly the same day. Where was it? In Cumberland, where I was brought up.
Right.
And I was then in Oxfordshire.
Okay.
And I was aware of patterns, synchronicities, and guidance. And being an actor led me to think, how do I know how to use a stat box without sword fighting? Or, as I mentioned to you, as an African person,
Yes.
playing Othello at drama school when I
You
was
say
19.
that, yes.
And there was a lady there from Kenya who
Yes.
couldn't believe how accurate I was.
Yes.
And I said, as a joke, it's enough to make you believe in reincarnation, isn't it? I didn't believe in it, not then. But it must have filtered through. And quite often, as an educationist, I trust students' blurts.
Right.
Because often it comes from a higher level awareness than what they've been educated to say or regurgitate. And there's very little trust taken in children, and so much risk aversion now that it's cramping their interest in climbing trees, etc., exploring. And this means they're not discovering much other than what's on those little screens. And I don't think it's understood why the mobile has become more important in their classes and the teachers and sometimes the parents. It's because they're in charge of the buttons. They're in charge of their choices. They can link with any part of the world they choose. What a privilege. Rather than be told what to sit, where to, what to write, and what to eat, etc., etc. You know, people want freedom. And freedom can only be made or achieved with choices. But the lesson is to learn discernment about choices that are nourishing to yourself and others, rather than, as it were, just being blinded by obedience and the fear of failure. Any control system always works with fear to keep people in servitude.
And bringing you back again, so you're an educationalist and an actor and author, yes.
A playwright.
A playwright, yeah.
A poet. And a facilitator or enabler of self-discovery, the true inner you.
Okay.
Living on inside, out on mission, on message.
And tell us more about that. Tell us more about that.
What I would say, is that basically you tell me about you.
Tell us, okay. So
because
I tell you.
Because anyone who's a real facilitator doesn't pontificate. They want to listen and then offer, if invited, certain insights into what they picked up.
Great.
Otherwise, I'm becoming an expert in other people's lives. I don't want to be an expert in somebody else's life. Difficult enough being an expert in my own.
Very lovely. It's absolutely... You can see why I'm fascinated. you can see why I was fascinated to meet Christopher Gilmore. For those watching, again, all the way in Kenya, bringing life back to you again is Christopher Gilmore. And I'm in his home, as you can see. I'm sitting down here, right in his home. And I just said, you know what? Let me visit. Because I like to find people as they are. So we're telling his journey. And I just wanted you to discover for yourself. He is a writer. He is an author. He is all those things is explained. So, Okupong, lovely to see you. Sampok Rina, lovely to see you. Kemi Climax, you talk about education and of course you love educating our community and parenting as well. This is a lovely story. It's great to see you watching this program here. George, welcome. Princess Elegant, Mkemdilim, lovely to see you. Yetunde Juliet Adisheli, I want to appreciate you. You gave us a book. You contributed a book to one of our programs a few years back. And Yetunde has also written a book there. Louise Hoffman, many thanks for coming in. Altison, thank you so much for coming in. Adebola, lovely to see you. Jerry Loins, lovely to see you. He will leave us in a few minutes. It's just coming around 6:30, and he has to go and watch a program that he loves. So I'm going to allow him to leave us, and let me just thank him as he goes and allow him to leave us with one word at least. What you want us to leave us? One thing that you would love people to, what do you cherish in life?
Love.
Love, yeah.
Music.
Music.
And a love song to God.
And what's that song?
Hugh. The first syllable of the word human. And when it's sung, it builds up your own protection. It speeds up your own need for learning, clarifies and protects and shows you, lights up your way forward without imposition. But love that's heart-centered is always an invitation, not an imperative, because it honors free will. And everything we do in Apple Enterprises encourages people to take ownership of their own free will and love the choices they make, but also love the consequences of them, realizing that only they can be in charge of themselves, their higher selves, their lower selves, every aspect of the self.
Many thanks to those lovely words. And thank you so much for allowing us to video you and just to get to know a little, just feel you. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to download this copy and I'll give it to you. David will help me to do that. I'm not an expert in that, but we will definitely get this clip. And to everything that you're doing, again, congratulations for capturing these wonderful memories. These are memories as I see them. I'm that type of a person, and that's why I say the African Wonder Woman. So thank you for just allowing us to be here with you.
Bless you.
He's going to go and watch his program, his favorite program. But you can see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're blessed.
You.
Thank you. And you want I want you to play for us as well. Get ready and play for us. I would love you to play your lyrics.
In and out of music.
Please help us to play your lyrics. Get ready and play your lyrics. Yes, please. Yeah. Just where he is, and leave the books where they are as well. So David, pass this book so I can show people as well. Close to them. And I'm going to get Peter to play some of his favorite lyrics. He's Iranian, and to me it's very fascinating how the two live together. So
I'm an award-winning writer.
Okay. Oh, that's another one. Okay.
And this one as well, poetry.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
I'm an award-winning writer.
Right. The Mushroom Men. The Mushroom Men and Writer of the Year 2010. So I'm just putting them on the floor, as you can see. And that's just me. Don't mind my legs today here.
And Peter. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to read you what I've just been given. And this is Christopher Gilmore. He's an actor, author, teacher, learner, and of course, edutainer. You can see the way he spelled that. So, so it says, let me read it. It says, and it reads, so it goes, it reads, just to come back, I was trying to get to really know him and just to really know what he does. But he's given me, is this, okay, hold on. What's this about? Okay. Okay, so this is his books, the books that he's done. So I wanted to know all the books that he's done. So he's done, let me read it. Christopher Gilmore, actor, author, teacher, learner, edutainer. A United Press Author of the Year 2010. So he definitely won an award there, something. Maybe I'll ask him later, but it definitely Author of the Year. Absolutely, congratulations. Christopher Gilmore has long been at the forefront of the holistic and complementary education movement, using skills and experience gained as an actor, teacher, and as an author. He helps an orthodox student of life and death and everything in between utilize the multiple layers of meaning and experience they have available to them. He is qualified in Brain Gym, in brackets, EDUK, close the bracket, and has run play shops on person-centered skills on 4 continents, seeking happiness in all of life's lessons. He has written novels, self-help books, poetry, talking books of modern fable plays, and musical. His innovative approaches to life and learning, having always encouraged personal evolution through direct experience of one's own interdimensional energy. He's the co-founder of Atma Enterprise, which is a CIC, a social enterprise co-creating innovative ways for people of all ages to expand their innate potential through person-centered experience learning. I think he was talking about that. His books and novels, I've picked up on those, some of the books, but I've just also picked up on one of the leaflets. And his books are Dovetails, 10 illustrated books, 360 plus creative intercurriculum insights and activity covering 10 subjects. And as you can see, let's bring you live. Hold on, he's ready. And thank you. Let's welcome you. And this is Peter. Just go for it.
Yeah, I play 2 very small practices.
Okay, thank you.
It's called it's a saraband.
Thank you. Oh, wonderful. That deserves a clap, you know. Just hold on. There you are. I love that. I loved it. Absolutely. And keep going. I love violin. And what what inspires you? How do you get your energy? What, you know?
Well, I've been playing since I was can't remember. I was in year 8.
Here in London or?
No, in Liverpool.
Okay, Liverpool. Okay.
But there has been, gaps on and off, and I've played with schools, my uni, and other orchestras. But I've restarted again to play with a new orchestra after a few years. So
Oh, congratulations.
it's only been like a few months.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And the next song is going to be?
It's an exercise. Let's see. And scan the piece first before I play.
And we are honored to watch you. Thank you. I hadn't prepared him. I just told him to just do it for us. And so we just sat down here, everyone. And I thought, capture this as well.
Okay. I'll go for it anyway, whatever happens.
He's good. Amazing. I have to clap. You're the clap man.
Now that you've asked me, you've inspired one more piece which I'd like to play.
Okay, thank you.
This was something that I first played when I began playing many years ago, and I've come to like this over the years because I played it at different occasions, different events.
Okay.
So again, this is a piece for the cello and piano. If you can find it.
Okay, just look. I know we weren't ready. I just said go for it, and that's me. You find it. Take your time. Take your time. As he's looking, it's can.
Hungarian stomp.
Oh, it's Hungarian. Okay, Hungarian stomp. Okay. So you did music in school?
I did it at GCSE, but I didn't actually play it. Take it off. I can't find it.
Okay, take your time.
But
you'll find it.
I'll play it by memory if I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, do you want us to give you time? But we can always play it again.
Okay,
and I want you also, after you finish this, to play as one of your favorites. The one that if I say to you one song, so when you finish this one.
This would be it, but since I can't find the piece,
okay.
I have some memory of it, so I'll see if I can crack
Remember, crack it. Thank you. Excellent. And you did all that with you. You're the club man, David. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well done. Absolutely amazing. And you did all that without reading these crochets, and all I see is crochets and music. And I used to I remember my teacher was called Miss Mienge, and I couldn't really grasp it all. But wonderful and absolutely entertaining. Yetunde, meet Peter, and of course Yetunde's husband also plays I think the saxophone. So it's always nice to just encourage everyone that I meet. So Yetunde Adishele, many thanks again. Yes, and I'm absolutely welcome and feeling at home. I mean, all the way here today in Crewe, joining this family. I just thought I'll capture, 86 years old Christopher Gilmore, and absolutely all the way in Kenya. Hisa Junior and Derek, thank you for joining in. Bernard Amalu, and of course Konta, thank you for coming in as well. Sharon, welcome. Sharon Morris, welcome. Jerry Lloyds, welcome. Ato Loye, welcome. Altiknso, welcome. And of course, Louise Hoffman. Some of you have read your one or two names again. But you can see how much it takes. And I always talk about commitment. When you do something with humility and humbleness, I always say just take a journey. Take a journey. And it's fascinating when you meet different people, different cultures. And I'm also very fascinated even more just coming into this family and seeing Christopher stays here with a man from Iridian. So I take my time, and I love learning. I love learning and sharing. This is why I shared what I was doing this evening here in Crewe. And I thought, let's go for an educational tour. 20 years ago, Christopher Gilmore was educating. It's around that time, and education was still being talked about, and he's ended up writing all these books. So I picked that just after I watched that, and I wanted to meet him. So I insisted to David that I want to see him. I want to talk to him. So it's an interesting week for me here today, and I'm gonna read the book. I've just purchased my book, so I'm going to read this book. I'm gonna read Indigo: Education for All Ages, a manual for mentoring me and you. I'll take interest. I don't know what I'll find, but that's just me. I always say to people, discovery. Don't be ignorant. And everything you meet in life, take interest. That is me. I take interest because I know it's important. Telling his story is lovely. I felt really happy just telling it to everyone. And everyone who has joined me here today as well. Many thanks for coming in and taking your evening with us. And just participating and becoming our viewers here this evening. So I appreciate you all. Duncan, thank you so much. You're always there. And I thank and appreciate you again for joining us. And of course, Peter, again, I thank you for joining us. I know that there was something I wanted to talk about as well. So I'm going to go to spirituality. Aha! Spirituality. I don't know why I say that. But because Christopher talked about reincarnation, I thought, let me find out more about what he means by did I pronounce it right? Go on, pronounce it for me.
Re as in repeat, incarnation. So reincarnation.
Reincarnation, yes. And earlier on this afternoon, you were telling me tell me just a little bit about it. Remind then I'll tell the viewers. But earlier on, I had a very interesting conversation with them too. And they asked me if I believed in reincarnation, and I hadn't thought about that question. So I asked him to tell me more. But this is what he tried to explain to me. Yes, go on, tell us about reincarnation.
Well, my understanding is that it's a concept.
Sorry, before that, remind me what was happening. There was a question you set up yourself. You say to me, you used to wonder.
Oh,
what?
Well.
Yeah. And then.
Well, obviously everyone is unique, different, at a different stage of their lives. Some people are Iranians, some are English, some are African. So obviously, like some are tall, some are short, some are disabled, some are abled, some are blind, some are not blind. So obviously, no one is the same.
Yes.
And everyone is very special and very, very unique. So, and everyone is at a different part of
their journey.
On their journey in their life. So, going by this, then you simply can't compare two people, because like it's not easy to say, because I believe this, therefore you should also believe this, because obviously there are two different human beings. And with this uniqueness comes the respect of free will. So if I'm at a particular time and place of my life, I can't say then you should also be at the same place as where I am. It doesn't make any sense. So in the past, I've also had my unique life in a very particular way, and I used to question things because to me it didn't quite make sense logically. For example, I questioned how come some people live till 96, whereas others die at the age of 6. So how?
That's the question I wanted you to tell the viewers here.
So
So that's what struck my conversation to bring you his version as well. So yeah.
So surely there's something not right here. I mean, like, why? How is this fair? Where's the fairness here? And so these questions took me on a journey of self-discovery, and it led me to a variety of sources, of peoples, of spiritual paths and whatnot. So two things that I discovered on this journey is the concept of reincarnation
I was just
and karma. And they work together. It's not really possible to say one exists without the other, because it doesn't make sense, because reincarnation is based on karma. Okay.
What's the difference?
So reincarnation, I think, is the process of so read the word, the two letters re at the beginning of the word means to repeat. It's like a reiteration. So it's like a recycle. So, and incarnation means to be incarnated, to be reborn, and to be born. So reincarnation means to be born again.
To be born again.
Yeah.
So it's spiritually.
Physically, spiritually, on all levels. So, and karma is on basic simple terms, is the law of cause and effect. It's what Isaac Newton said in his, I think, second law of motion. So, no, sorry, I think it was the first law. No, sorry, the third law. Because so it says something about like for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
So this message of reincarnation,
yeah,
this message.
I'm trying to connect dots to
the two,
see how.
right?
So my understanding is that now this makes a huge difference and shift in seeing things. So my understanding is that we, me and you, are human beings.
Okay.
With a physical body, but this physical body, as I said, mentioned to you this morning, is simply a coat that you wear.
Yes.
So I believe that the body is a vehicle or a coat.
Right.
For a higher thing that I call soul.
Okay.
To enter and to govern. So me, I'm called I'm Peter.
Yes.
But me as soul is
yeah.
Me as soul is living, and this body, this lifetime at this moment is called Peter. It's the coat that I'm wearing that's called Peter. It's not the soul. It's the coat. The coat is called Peter.
The coat. Yeah.
So what I believe is that this soul is eternal. So it has always been and always will be in life, and it will always exist. And also to mention a different physics law. I don't know about the exact phrasing, but it goes something like energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be changed into a different form. So in the same way, soul cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change coats, change shape, change life, enter life into a different way. You know? So with this said, this soul, a quality that it has in potential is omnipresence. Omnipresence, being everywhere at the same time. Omniscience, all knowing, and omnipotence, all powerful. So these are the three qualities that I believe soul has, and
repeat
hence,
them again.
And hence, so it's omnipresence.
Omnipresence, yeah.
Omniscience and omnipotence.
Okay, I'll read them about it.
So soul, in order to realize these powers, it has these qualities. It has to unfold.
Right.
It has to be self-realized to realize itself, to be able to unlock these powers.
Okay.
Okay. So it goes through a process of learning. Hence, it goes from the so-called heaven. That's a different concept, but it's not heaven, but it's something higher. But for the sake of
people understanding,
I'll call it heaven.
Okay.
It came from heaven into a school, which some people call earth, and this is only one school. So, and it comes to this school to learn, and to experience, and to realize itself, to unfold like a rose petal. You know, have you seen like a rose open?
Yeah.
So it's unfolding. Yeah. And so and for this unfoldment to happen, to reach these qualities, a few years is simply not enough, because soul needs to experience pretty much everything. No, it's not everything, but pretty much everything to know itself. For example, it needs to live as a male. It needs to live as a female. Because if you're a male, how can you possibly know a female if you're not it? It's not possible. So it needs to be an African, a British, an Iranian, or whatever. Because how can you be an African and yet know how it is to be British. It's not possible. You can appreciate some qualities, yes, but you can't experience being it or living it, you know. So as a result, my question, which I asked myself years ago, about why do some people die at 6 and some people die at 96. Obviously, where's the fairness here?
How old were you? If you don't, can you remember roughly how old you were?
Well,
it's important, and the reason I asked that is just to see where you were in your life at that time.
Well, I've been a person who had always questioned a lot when I was small, but there has been major turning points in my life. But so I've asked these questions for a long time, but this particular moment that I'm talking about was a few years ago.
Okay.
So a different question that I asked was that in my previous spiritual path, I was told that only these people who are within the spiritual path will go to the heaven. And I was confused. I looked around me and I said there are so many good people in this world. Is it only Christians who go to heaven? Is it only Muslims who go to heaven? Is it only Jews who go to heaven? What about the other 6 billion people? Are they all going to hell? Or are they all worth nothing? So it didn't quite fit in my mind. But when I discovered the concept of reincarnation and karma, it made more sense to me, because if soul is coming here to have experiences, not just one lifetime, but multiple lifetimes. So it comes, it changes, it comes, lives, dies like a flower. It's born, it grows, shines, and then grows old and dies, and then it's reborn again every single year. So as a result, it's a journey.
Okay.
And so imagine the first lifetime, not just as a human being, but also animals and plants. So imagine the first lifetime it is given. It creates, it does things, it does action, it moves. So it causes karma, right? So it causes an action, hence receives a reaction. That's what karma means.
Thank you.
So say if a lion attacks a deer, it's causing an action, and a deer is reacting to it. Say if I say I love you to a person, he or she will react to me. So I'm causing karma on a daily basis. So this karma becomes like a loose cannonball on a ship. So it smashes into the masts, it breaks things, it creates things, it causes things. Yeah. It's causing karma, and so this ripples through the different lifetimes through eternity. And the journey begins and the cycles begin.
And what's eternity to you?
Eternity? Well, eternity only makes sense within the worlds which are bound by time and space and matter and energy, because eternity is a framework, whereas you can't be outside this framework, outside time and outside space and outside matter and outside energy. So and the world we are living in, the physical world, is bound by time, space, matter and energy.
Interesting.
I hope that makes some sense.
Well, I will be watching this video again and digest it. But in the meantime, I just wanted to capture as much as I could. And you touched on, I'm trying to get to understand reincarnation. Previously, did Christopher, make you start thinking about reincarnation, or it just came by yourself?
No, I discovered things, and I began my journey, my spiritual journey, before I met Christopher. I met him after I had begun my own journey.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
interesting. So you were in Liverpool at that time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well done. Okay, interesting. But I'm talking about, what do you think, viewers? I'm talking about spirituality today. And for atheists as well, you've met different communities and multi-faith. Yeah, tell us about reincarnation with different faiths. What's your experience behind that?
Well, reincarnation is not a religion. It's a concept. It's an idea. It's a physical law. It's a structure. It's how the universe is built. I believe, because
so is it
trees reincarnate every single year. Plants reincarnate. The earth, the day again. As I said to you, the night dies and the sunrise comes again, and it gives life to the day. It gives life to the plants, and everything is reborn. The cycles of the body is reincarnating on a daily basis. The earth is rotating on its own incarnation on daily, monthly, weekly, yearly, annual basis. Everything is within a structure.
And with reincarnation, so it's not a religion. So it's so basically, and what are the rules of reincarnation? Is there any rules, like, let's say, Catholic or Muslim or Jewish or Orthodox? Do you have any? Okay, it's based on karma.
So,
okay.
for example, if you're in a loving relationship with your partner, and you two die, but the karma between you two isn't finished, so what happens now? Well, to me, it makes sense for these two souls, not the bodies. The bodies will die and rot away and forever gone. But these two souls, it makes sense to come together at some points in the future, to continue and to finish these karmas together. We cause and effect. So to give an example, is that if I kill someone in a lifetime, I've caused something. So it's highly possible that in a future lifetime, that same soul will kill me in my future lifetime. Do you see? So because the equation must always be balanced. As in
what goes around comes around.
Exactly. Yes.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
But interesting conversation, and I've captured a lot.
Can I just say there's one thing that I want to mention. These cycles of incarnations, they are not infinite. They can finish and stop.
Okay.
When the karma is finished, then there is no need for the cycles to continue. So obviously it must come to an end.
So karma comes.
And hence soul graduates from this school called Earth and progresses onto a higher school of learning. Like when you're in secondary school, you graduate and you go into college and then university. Go into uni. So it graduates. And it's a choice.
Have you met many people who believe in reincarnation?
Yes, plenty, many thousands.
Interesting.
And by the way, I have seen indications of these incarnations in spiritual books of other religions as well. It's been referred to, but people don't see it as we do nowadays. They see it as a symbolic.
And which one is that?
I don't want to mention names because
okay.
I don't have the
evidence
number, but
right.
But I have seen it both in the Muslim Quran and also the Christian Bible. It does, for example, in the Quran, it does say something like the trees or like nature, we will destroy you and then bring you back again. And it mentions the earth or the moon being reborn again, and it mentions that everything is in balance. So and everything is recorded.
Remind me a conversation we were speaking about Hinduism. What brought that conversation about temple? Was it because of reincarnation
I
as
don't
well?
remember what the story was.
Okay. Oh, earlier on I was thinking about the temple. You know, when I was telling you the story in Nigeria that there's a man who is, in Nigeria, is one of the first African men to go into, Hinduism. So I was trying to remember what that was about, the conversation, but let's just leave that conversation. So to finish off with, what's your great message? What are you going to tell us about one thing that you'd like people to remember, about your journey? What is the special moments?
Well, I don't want anyone to remember anything about my journey because it's my journey.
Yes.
But because everyone's different. Everyone has their own journey. I think it's about finding where you're at and making the next step in whatever way from there and then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's about recognition, self-recognition.
Self-discovery.
Yes.
Self-discovery. I always say self-discovery is very important for people in life. It's interesting. But anyway, thank you. And he wasn't expecting me to do that live coverage. So thanks for helping us. Do you want to tell people about your background? I know I didn't prepare for this, but maybe another day we could come back and tell, or do you want to quickly?
I don't see the need for my background to mention, but...
Okay. And today you're talking and just hearing, and what prompted me to talk to him really was because as I was sitting here today, and thank you, just one more thank you. I love gratitudes. I love abundance. I'm really grateful and thanks for the warm welcome.
Well, thank you for facilitating these conversations.
Yes, and I just love talking. I love talking. People will tell you she talks a lot. But I love bringing these conversations and thank you for lunch. You did beautiful lunch for us. Really, he can cook as well. And we were really well received. We really appreciate you one more time, Peter. But and thank you as well for living with Christopher as well. I love people who look after others. So I'm grateful to have met you finally, because I've had Peter, but I never knew who I would be meeting. So I'm fascinated with it all. And I'm capturing these moments because I believe in memories and I believe in learning and education. And I believe in learning and sharing myself. And that's why I share so much about things that I do. I really don't care. Sometimes if my spirit leads, I just do it promptly. I don't really prepare because I believe the best things in life are free and it's just in the moment as you come in. And Christopher is back. I think he's finished watching his program. But many thanks again.
Well, thank you too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree.
You agree. Thank you. I'll be finishing shortly. I will just, that's just me talking. And yes, for those who've joined us, it's been a long discussion this evening. I've just met this beautiful family. I call it a family. And they live as a family. And so what prompted it all is I decided to go for and just get to meet Christopher Gilmore, who is an actor, author, teacher, and learner. And for those who are watching, you got to hear from him speaking to us earlier on. So for today, I was also bringing you in to think about spirituality. Some of you are spiritual. Some of you are atheists. Some of you, I've met so many people from all different kind of corners of the world. And, for me, as a person, do good. Do good. Irregardless of your background, irregardless of your beliefs, what is love to you? I always leave that question to people. What is love to you? Because if you love, something, you look after it. So for me, it doesn't matter which kind of, if atheists speak to me, I like to listen. If reincarnation speak to me, I want to listen. If Muslims speak to me, I want to listen. If Catholics speak to me, I would love to hear what they have to say. Protestants talking, I would love to hear what they're saying. Muslim, I try and have an open mind because I believe the spirit of learning is within us all. And I believe that learning and listening is very important, as I did here tonight. Do I agree with it all? Ask me next time. Until then, African Wonder Woman here in Crew, talking live and just discovering. And don't forget about all those books that I was showing you. And just to say thank you so much to those who have joined us. Lisa Brett, Isaiah Kirema, Edward Chegemaina all the way in Kenya, Michael Ayokunle, thank you, Karua Jason, thank you, Conte, thank you, and of course Bernard Amalu, thank you so much, and of course say hello to your wife, Kisa Junior again. Many thanks for all of you who have joined us live here, and I'll tell you, read a book. I'm tempted to enhance education. If you've watched this video, this program here today, be inspired and let us start reading. Pick up a book. I know Kemi Climax will always encourage us and even encourage children to read a book. So read a book and tell us about that story. Until then, good night, everyone. Here in Crew, having a wonderful time getting to know this family. And tomorrow I'll be in Manchester. Watch a program tomorrow. I will be covering something which is very personal as well. I'll be talking about, anyway, I'll keep you suspended. But tomorrow I'll come in and I'll be in Manchester. I'll leave from here and I'll be in Manchester. And it's hot, hot. I'll be probably, I'll put up a post tomorrow when I'm coming on, but it will be in the evening. But I'll also be live on TV. So I'll be talking about matters to do. Let me just say it, but I'll bring in the discussion on singleness and also why some people choose to have children, why others don't choose to have children, and what it means. I'll also look at it from stigma and stereotype and all kind of things. I'll look at families and so many other things. So look out for that tomorrow. So it will be interesting conversation. Good night. Thank you. Thank you so much for everyone who is okay. Questions. Let me answer those questions. I'll answer those questions later, and I'll look at them because my battery as well is sort of going. But many thanks, Duncan Williams. I'll say good night. I know you've just joined us, and until then, don't forget to get a copy of this lovely book, Indigo Education for All Ages, if you've seen, and of course Atma there as well.
It will be available to purchase on atmaenterprises.org.
Fantastic.
Or you can contact the author.
I'll put a link for where you. I'll also put this I'll try and see if I can download this video. So we've captured a lot, and I will put all the links of if you're interested to buy any of these books, and I will also put all the books that this that Christopher has done. So keep an eye on that. If you see me putting up something, there is always something. And don't always ask me why, because sometimes I also ask myself why. Good night. Bye-bye. Mwah. If you want to follow some of the things I talk about, at JNM1000. Don't forget that. And don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel. I've started asking people to subscribe on my YouTube channel because some of these things I need to sort of start saving, and people were saying to me, save some of these things. So if you're not on my YouTube channel, please go into my YouTube channel. The name is there, Juliet Macapilla. Google, just check YouTube channel, and all you've got to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel so that if you miss an episode, once I've downloaded whatever I have discussed. It will always be there to watch later. So please subscribe to my channel, Juliet Macapilla. I use my own names because I believe in honesty, and I just use my own name. So Juliet Macapilla, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for watching, especially Christopher Gilmore and all the interesting things that he has done. Absolutely a journey, he has taken us into a journey of education many years ago. Mwah. Good night.